I don't know how many of you have had the experience of having your boss drive around with you all day long, or be there in the classroom as you lecture, be in the seat beside you as you tutor a student. When you're new at any job or any responsibility, usually you have to have a supervisor there monitoring your progress. Well, living with depression and anxiety is sort of like having that little boss with you all the time. And she's quite vocal, and she criticizes and nags and tells you what you could be doing better. My therapist helped me to discern those thoughts that I have into two categories. One is a condemnation, and one is a conviction. A conviction can be a healthy thing, I guess, sort of like good guilt. It causes you to want to be a better person and to make new goals in order to grow in your spirituality, grow as a person, grow in compassion. But a condemnation doesn't do anything good. A condemnation only makes you feel worse about yourself. It makes you feel more depressed. The trick is telling them apart, telling the condemnation to go bye-bye and exploring what the conviction is all about, exploring maybe some precise goals, some small goals that can help get you toward the conviction. I like to think of it this way too. The conviction comes from your heart, but the condemnation comes from the distorted part of your brain. For example, yesterday I was at a picnic sponsored by the school. And as is with the case with most picnics, there's tons of food there and tons of food that's not so good for you, but really tastes good, like potato chips, cookies, cake, you name it. So I didn't exercise a lot of discipline, and I was eating a lot of the junk food. And I said to myself, you are a fat pig. Now, that is a condemnation. If I would have said to myself, you need to start eating better, that would have been a conviction. A conviction would have said, whoa, slow down on the potato chips and, get a little control, try and start eating a little bit better tomorrow. That's a conviction. I'll give you another example. The other day was really rainy here, and we couldn't really do anything outside with kids. So they watched about 3 hours of TV. And my inner voice said, you are such a terrible mom. That is a condemnation. Whereas if I said to myself, 3 to 4 hours of TV is too much for the kids, that is a conviction, because that forces me to make some rules and make some revisions in the way I parent that are fitting with my philosophies, that, as little TV as possible. One more example. If I'm sort of frazzled and just having a hard time juggling it all, and I say to myself, I got to find some sort of balance. I got to find a way to juggle it a lot better. That would be a conviction. Now, if I said to myself, you can't handle anything, you're weak and pathetic, that would be a condemnation. Sometimes it's easier to tell them apart. Sometimes it's harder to tease them apart. But I think that if we separate them, then it can afford you to use your thoughts to make you into a more productive, spiritual, compassionate person, and to sort of dispose of the negative part of your thoughts.